Hello, Mustang basketball fans, and welcome back to Mustang basketball with Brad Bigler here at Studio One, Marshall Cable Access, and online at SMSUmustangs.com. I'm your host, Kelly Loft. It's been a few weeks since we've talked with the head coach. We hope all of you had a great, happy holiday season as we head in now to the new year. 2013 is upon us, and we talk Mustang basketball again this week with the head coach, Brad Bigler. The Mustangs with a couple of road games last week, losing at Winona State in overtime, but the Mustangs bounced back with a great win at Upper Iowa on Saturday. Now the Mustangs return home, take on St. Cloud State and Minnesota Duluth, and we'll talk about those games here shortly with the head coach, Brad Bigler. And Coach, it's been a while since you've been in studio. Last time we aired a show, assistant coach Brooks McCown was in studio, and you've had a few weeks now, break. You had about 19 games off between the win against Concordia and then this loss last Friday to Winona State. But, talk about the break and what you did in your staff and when the guys came back, because there is a mandatory time for your guys to be gone and then get back at it here, and then we'll talk about Winona and Upper Iowa.
And that last week, after Concordia, I had chose to go on the recruiting, and I probably should let Brooks McCown come back because I think we had record numbers of watching the video and everything.
That's right.
So
that's because he clicked continually himself from his computer to watch itself. That's what I said. Yeah.
But no, it was good. So I went and did some recruiting. Sometimes it's tough for me to get out on the road recruiting for longer periods of time just because of being so busy with the season. So that was a great opportunity for me to go out and recruit and saw some important guys in our depth chart. And now, like you said, that NCAA, from December 20th to the 26th or 27th, you cannot do anything with the players, which for me personally, I like that. I have a family, and it allows me to spend some quality time with them over the holiday season and enable for us to kind of do some traveling. But when we came back, it's a challenge to get those guys game ready. And I think that's a challenge that all of us in the D2 level have right now. But fortunately for us this year, our schedule worked out that we had about 8 days before that first game, which I think that was a good thing. And it allowed us to kind of take our time. You didn't have to necessarily do 2-a-days like we've done in the past, and it allowed us to really be prepared going into the last weekend.
Coach, then what's the biggest challenge when you have that long a break during the middle of a season? It's obviously very unique. At the Division II level, you must do that, take that break during the middle of your season. But is it more so getting the guys back in basketball shape, running up and down the floor? Or, they're obviously probably supposed to get some workouts in throughout that break if they go home or whatnot. But what is that biggest challenge that you and your staff face every time you have a long break like this?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is, like you said, just getting their legs, getting that game conditioning back. Because it is a different sense of urgency. It's a different speed. And I think that was the biggest challenge. One thing I think we advantaged from is over break. That gave us a lot of time to break down our stuff. We got a lot of reps offensively with what we're trying to do. Early on in the year, we were struggling to score the basketball. I think we've been able to get it going here since conference play. Now we have to start focusing on that defense again and trying to get that up to a high level. But we had a chance to really break down our stuff, and I thought we took advantage of it.
Of course, you come back from break, you get that long time to practice and prepare for the Winona State Warriors, and the Mustangs open up the 2013 portion of their schedule with a 91-83 overtime loss to Winona State University. The Mustangs in regular season play just have been snake-bitten against the Warriors in the last 10 years or so, and the Warriors come back and win that game by 8 in overtime, but the Mustangs bounce back and beat a very good Upper Iowa team 74-69. So the Mustangs at 7-7 overall and 4-3 in the Northern Sun Conference, and still, every week, every conference weekend you go to, Coach, especially on the road, you want to sweep, obviously, but you at least got to get a split, and you did accomplish those goals. And I know that's one thing you mentioned after Friday night's game is. As disappointing as you guys were, there was still a lot to play for on Saturday, and it was great to see the guys bounce back and get that win against an Upper Iowa team that won at Mankato, won at Winona, won at Concordia, beaten Wayne State at home, and they're a very good squad.
And our goals probably won't change for a long time. I mean, with regards to how we go about our business with conference play. We want to win all our home games, and we want to try to go 1-1 on the road. That's a realistic thing. To say that you're going to do a lot better than that, you're going to have a special team if that's the case. But I think you want to try to keep that even keel. And I think doing the one-on-one thing on the road, that allows your guys to understand that, hey, whatever happens on Friday, you have to bounce back, and you have to be ready to go on Saturday. And it's been a good mentality for us. Again, we've played 10 of our first 14 games on the road. So we've been road warriors here that whole first semester. So going into this weekend, and we can talk about that later, but it'll be good for us to get back at home and then to try to kind of get some momentum going here in this second half of the season.
And one thing that you guys have done extremely well here throughout the entire season, and especially in conference, you lead the conference in scoring and in field goal percentage. And I think I put some numbers together last night. I think our last 12 halves or so, or of the last 13 halves, we've shot over 50% in 10 of those. And some pretty amazing numbers, Coach. And you shoot 69% against Winona in the first half. You have a 10-point lead. And Winona only shoots 38% in the second half against you guys, but they come back and tie it and send it to overtime. And what we've talked about is just the ability of the opponents to get to the free throw line, and especially in some critical situations. And obviously we missed some free throws as well late in that game to allow Winona to get back into it. But offensively, you got to be really happy where your squad is at right now.
Especially where we started the year. We had a tough time doing anything at the beginning of the year. We put a focus on it, and to see our guys respond in that way is exactly what we needed to see. I would also add that I give them our guys credit. They're playing unselfish. They're creating easy opportunities for teammates. They're taking high percentage shots within their strengths, and that's what happens when you do that. That's what happens when you put up 50-some% field goal percentage. Now it's a matter of on the defensive end. Like you said, we're putting teams to the foul line too much. We're also at the end of games having a tough time rebounding at the end of games. So those combination of those two things have allowed teams to come back on us in the second half, to be able to stay with us and stay with our scoring. Because our defense in itself in the half court isn't broken. We're holding teams to 42% field goal percentage, which is a respectable percentage. Now it's a matter of just keeping teams off the foul line and finishing possessions.
And again, the Mustangs losing that game to Winona State 91-83. Mustangs had 6 players in double figures, really balanced attack. Nick Smith with 14 points led the way for Southwest. And give Winona credit, they battled back, tied it, scoring the last 4 points of regulation. And then overtime, you went back and forth, and they made all 5 of their field goal attempts, and you had it tied with just over a minute to go, and the Warriors got some stops, and they get the victory. And it's the second time now in 3 games. You lost to Mankato at home, and where you had a lead late. And I'm sure you're very interested to see how the guys would respond going to Upper Iowa the next night, because that can be demoralizing. But maybe it makes you stronger, and we're able to finish off a game the next night against the Peacocks.
And that's where these situations right now, as a coach, you try to use them as coaching, teaching lessons, and that's where our ability to use these. To get better, to work on those situations in practice is going to be hopefully helps us in the long run. I'm not a big fan of saying you have to lose to get better, that type of concept, but we have to use that now to our advantage. We've been in a ton of end-of-game situations. Our guys know what to expect. We're all on the same page. Now it's a matter of kind of finishing some stuff, making free throws, taking care of the basketball. But definitely with regards to using the shot clock, using shot selections at the end of the game, and then press breakers, and we're all on the same page. And now we have to just be able to finish ball games.
Again, the Saturday night following that Winona State loss, the Mustangs rebound and beat Upper Iowa 74-69. Mustangs shoot 62% in the second half, 13 of 21 from the field, and made just a couple of three-pointers in the game, but the ability to get to the free throw line, Mustangs 20 of 24, only 10 turnovers, so you limit your turnovers and keep those possessions, how precious they were, and you're able to make some free throws. Jordan Miller and Tremel Barnes down the stretch, and to hold off the Peacocks, who are a very good squad this year. They've got 9 wins. They were 5-1 in the conference, and great way to bounce back.
Coach Dolan is doing an excellent job with those guys. He has 6 seniors. He has a lot of upperclassmen. They went through a lot of battles last year. I think they learned from it, and they've carried it over this year with a lot more confidence and just finishing out ball games. They've made 2 game winners. They beat Winona and Mankato on game-winning shots. They're a talented team. They're very physical, and they're a team when you're going to go play them for the hustle war, the rebounding war. They're going to be as good as anybody because they're a very physical basketball team. And I was pleased to see how we responded, because there was a moment in that game as well where some things didn't go our way in that second half, but we were able to bounce back, to get that next possession, that next stop, and then get that easy bucket. So we made enough plays to come out with a win.
And of course, we talk about things that changed during break, and since the last time we talked, Coach, and we should talk about some personnel. You've added a player to the roster, and Tyler Pashon, who finished his football career at Southwest in early November. He joined the team in mid-December and had the opportunity to take some grad school classes and to continue his education. He's going to do that and be a member of your team. And he did play, I was going to say a few seconds, but really it wasn't many seconds officially against Winona State, but not so much, he'll help you in so many various ways, not only on the court but off as well, because of his leadership skills. He was a captain of the football team, and he brings a lot to the table, and that's why you've added him to the team, and he's happy to help out.
And the biggest reason why Tyler's a part of the team is that leadership side of things, the locker room. He's a guy that communicates at a high level, has a great sense of humor, and is a guy that really brings guys together. And not that we were bad in the locker room before him, but just adding another leader like him, it can only help the locker room.
Yes, and so Tyler joining the team. He's a senior from Marshalltown, and of course the guys on the bench. And I know our newspaper in Marshall did a story on that. And let's talk about that, because that is important.
Yep.
These guys that have a role, and they're going to play some minutes. We might need those guys to play at certain times, or at least in practice and redshirting. And it's great to see those guys kind of enjoy that role and to be part of the team. 1 through 15 on the squad, everybody's important, and that's what makes Mustang basketball what it is.
And a lot of times with us, we talk about guys paying their dues. A lot of times guys redshirt when they come into our program, and we've seen the benefits of that in the long haul. Where their 4th and 5th year, they've just been able to be more experienced. They get it, they appreciate it more. And that's a little bit where this group right now, we have we have 4 redshirts. We have Tyler Pashon, and even David Connon is still paying his dues a little bit, and all those guys really take pride in getting that top team ready, and it's fun to see them understanding their role. It's even though they're not playing on the Fridays and Saturdays, their role on this team is big, and they have to get those guys ready to play, and you know what? Understanding the bigger picture. I think that's something to be said about that and the character of those guys.
Well, those guys have put a lot of work in, and they help prepare the Mustangs each week and get in some minutes as well when needed. And let's take a look at some of those highlights and what the guys did to prepare, taking on the Warriors from Winona State, as we start off with our highlights in Winona, the Mustangs in the gold uniforms. And we open up here in the first half, and that was a 3-pointer by Jordan Miller. Mustangs had 6 in the game, and that was the first one off a pass from Bernard Birch. Mustangs' Will Giddings had a solid game with 12 points, 5 of 6 shooting, getting off here earlier. And here's Tremel Barnes driving and scoring in the end one. And again, a lot of plays on both ends of the floor, Coach. And here's that press you put on, and it crosses a turnover.
And most of the time with our press, we know that we're not going to turn teams over. A lot of it is just to try to take them out of their rhythm. So if they're going to hand the ball over to us like that, then we're going to take advantage of it. But at the end of the day, it's more about changing the tempo of the game. See, here's a good possession here where we see the ball moving. We talked a lot about don't being a ball stopper. Move that basketball, cut, and you're going to see a great finish by Will Giddings there with the dunk in the middle of the paint.
Yes, nice job by Will. He had a couple of big-time plays. Here's Nick Smith with a dunk, and the Mustangs, again, shooting 69% in the first half, 20 and 29, and getting great looks at the basket. And great pass from Tremel, and here's Matt Zager with the basket.
And a lot of this starts off with Nick Smith with the finish, but a lot of it is just guys setting each other up. Matt Zager with a nice cut, Jordan Miller with a great vision to find him. In transition here, Nick Smith is going to be set up by Matt Zager. And that's how we want to play. We want to play an unselfish style of basketball. And I think right now the guys are buying it. And now it's a matter of just continuing to try to get better as a team in all aspects of the game.
There's a pull-up jumper there for Trammell off the pass from Giddings. And then they kicks it back out to Will, and he drills the long-range three. And the Mustangs rolling here in this first half. And then Jordan Miller follows up with the top of the key three.
And getting back to Giddings quick, it's nice to see Giddings shoot the basketball at a high level. He's definitely capable of doing it, and he's shooting with a little bit more confidence since conference has started. And we'll need him to continue to shoot like that.
Smith, 6 of 7 shooting in the ball game. Nice little hook shot with the right hand. Excellent job. And then here's Zager at the top of the key driving, pulling up from about 8 feet away. And at this time, I really got the Warriors on their heel. You have a 15-point lead in the first half. Shot there by the Mustangs. Tough hit. Here's Nick Smith again off a pass from Trammell Barnes.
Good movement. You see Trammell drive baseline here. Nick's going to move to the middle of the paint, just catches, and then finishes.
Defensive end, Mustangs force 17 turnovers. And Barnes rips it away here with a steal. And then goes in and draws the contact, gets the hoop. Mustangs continue on here in the first half, and there's a three by Budenhagen, and then another press, and you guys get another turnover. And
this is sometimes, again, if teams are going to be undisciplined and going to hand us the basketball, I mean, we're going to take advantage of it. Otherwise, like I said, the press is more for a change of tempo, and we feel that it's been very successful for us.
Great pass, and the Mustangs we continue to see getting just great action to the rim and taking high percentage shots, and that's why we lead the conference in field goal percentage, and Trammell drawing a foul, taking the ball to the rack, and now we go to the second half, and SMSU in a 2-on-1. Nice give up by Zager over to Miller. And then here's Barnes fouled as well. And
that's where we need to make, Clayton Vetti's a super talented player, making him play both ends of the floor. We do a lot of ball screen action, try to take him away from the rim, and we'll continue to do that.
Here's a couple of highlights with Lavion West. He'll kick it off here to Bernard Birch for the basket. As Bernard drills the three, and great to see him be able to make that shot. And then Lavion with a solid game off the bench. He had 15 points a game, our team high, 7 of 11. I did say earlier Nick led the team, but West with 15 in that balanced scoring attack and hit some big shots.
And as you'll see with these clips, these shots aren't easy shots. Lavion just has the ability to get to that mid-range jumper, and with his athleticism, he can step up and knock that down, and it's very difficult to defend.
Zager with the right-handed shot, spinning away, and here's Lavion again on the left side of the wing. Again, a tough 15-footer, but he drills it. And here's a couple of more highlights. Steal by Barnes with the basket, and then Giddings with the steal, and then rewarded with the basket here later on.
Great hustle by Will. And
he gets the steal. And here's, again, he pull up from about 10 feet away, drills it. And our last highlight here, a couple more. Zager with the hoop off the pass from Trammell Barnes, and then Jordan Miller with a basket as well. And again, these are in overtime. And the Mustangs, though, able to tie it. They're down 3 in the second half. A tough hit by Miller, and the Mustangs not able to rally back after the Warriors go 5 of 5 shooting in the overtime period and outscore the Mustangs 16-8. And just a tough one, Coach. They seem like they've got our number in that conference regular season play. In the conference tournament, we've had some success the last couple of years in the semifinals, but that was a tough one to take. We really took it to them in that first half, and that's the disappointing part, because if you keep that going, and obviously you're probably not going to shoot 69% in back-to-back halves, but it was there, and it just shows that you guys can play against Mankato as well and can beat anybody if you're playing the way you're supposed to.
Right now with this team, it's a matter of playing both ends of the floor. Offensively, we're playing with a lot of confidence, and I think that goes back to playing unselfish basketball. Defensively, we have some room for improvement. A lot of it's just back to finishing possessions. We have some certain rotations that we're breaking down at the end of shot clocks and at the end of games, and that's where this is an experienced group, and I think at some point we're going to start getting that figured out, and we're going to be a tough team to beat.
Yeah, the Mustangs had to figure it out quickly, had to make the trip south to Fayette, Iowa, and the Mustangs taking on the Peacocks, and again, a nice victory for Southwest, 74-69. We're going to take a look at the highlights from Dorman Gymnasium in Fayette. Mustangs in the white uniforms, and SMSU shooting just 45% in the first half in this game, and kind of say that sarcastically, but getting some good action to the rim. There's Jordan Miller off a pass from Nick Smith, and again, SMSU, Jordan Miller, 23 points in the game. Zager with that layup. And just getting Nick Smith established, coach, has been kind of a key to our success as well here in the last few weeks.
And when you talk about Nick Smith, again, I kind of just saying the same thing over and over, but I think it's where our guys have to find him, off their action to the rim, getting him some easy buckets early in games. And then when he has the opportunity, he's going to knock down that jumper. When it comes to a one-on-one situation in the block.
You see Sean Condon drawing a foul and being aggressive again, gets to the rack and gets the layup. His only basket of the night. Continuing on, Matt Zager. Mustangs had just 2 3-pointers in the game, but this was one of them. And then Zager fouls it up with another basket. Ball tipped around, Mustangs keep it alive.
I think this is a great example right here of guys being aggressive. Let's get to the rim, Might even have an open shot on the perimeter, but let's get the better shot. Let's attack the rim, put pressure on the defense.
Jordan Miller, again, 23 points, 9 rebounds, 8 of 16 from the field. Buries that jumper. Matt Zager had 9 points and 8 rebounds. Bernard Birch with an and 1. And he fouls it up again. Bernard, 9 points. No turnovers in the game, and dealt with some foul trouble, but 21 minutes played, did a nice job.
Both nights, that did play a factor. Both nights with Bernard being in foul trouble, but that's where we have guys like Tremel Barnes, Jordan Miller, and a variety of other guys who stepped up when he was out of the game.
Great to see Jordan get to the free throw line. He goes 7 of 8. Missed one late in the second half, but when he gets to the line, he's one of the best free throw shooters in program history, and you feel confident when he gets to there, and he's being very aggressive and getting that basket here to start this second half. Mustangs led 36-32 at halftime, and there's a nice scoop shot by Birch, and then here's Nick Smith on a great pass from Jordan Miller.
And right now, in this point of the game, both teams are trying to play, change up defenses. Upper Iowa started to press a little bit. We went to some zones, and it was a little bit of a chess match.
Here's Budenhagen driving, kicking at left wing. Mustangs patient, and layup by Miller. Mustangs shoot 62% in the second half, and a near goaltend call there for the Southwest. They break the press by the Peacocks. And a good decision here, and able to set up your offense with plenty of time on the shot clock, despite having the full court press put on by the Peacocks. And big 3 here by the Mustangs. The Giddings 3, Mustangs just 2 of them in the game, and he's a big one in that second half.
See here, they went with a smaller matchup on Nick, and he was able to take advantage of it.
Miller drawing that foul, and getting it to go down. Smith again in the paint with the right hand. More Nick Smith. Put back. And this is late in the game. Mustangs need a big basket. Able to come through as Miller hitting that one, and the Mustangs then made some free throws down the stretch and get that victory. Again, 5 of 6, the Mustangs in the last minute or so to seal it from the free throw line. SMSU 20 of 24 from the free throw line. Tremel Barnes 8 of 8. Jordan Miller 7 of 8. So those two guys going 15 of 16, Coach, and 5 of 6 in the last minutes there, sealing the victory. And just an important road win for you guys to bounce back and get back over 500 in conference play, and now heading home finally to play a couple of big games this weekend. But overall, not a bad road trip. Could have maybe got both wins, but you got to be happy with going 1-1.
Right now we're playing good basketball, and if we continue to play good basketball, we're going to be a tough team to beat. Are we perfect? No. We still have a long ways to go. Defensively, for sure. We can clean up a lot of things, and that's our focus right now, is to become a better defensive team. And hopefully we can make some strides this weekend. And at the end of the day, we want to be playing our best basketball at the end of the year. We've said that last year. That was our theme last year. That's going to be our theme this year. We want to be playing our best basketball at the end of the year. And along the way, we've been humbled a little bit, and I think that's okay. We're not. Some of the ball hasn't bounced our way a few times. We haven't taken advantage of some opportunities, but now it's a matter of kind of putting it all together and kind of staying the course. We talk all the time, don't get too high, don't get too low, and just to kind of continue to grind. And that's where NSIC basketball, that's the best, because every night out you're going to be playing a talented team, and you're going to have to find a way to make that one extra play to win the ball game.
Well, we've started up the season in early November. You played 14 games, and we're only halfway through the season. A lot of great basketball up ahead, and that's what I think we're finding out, that you've got to bring your A game every night, because you look at Minot State, a newcomer in the conference. They go to St. Cloud State last Saturday and beat the Huskies. You've got some other games where Minot went to Minnesota Duluth and beat them. They go 2-0 this past weekend, and it's a tough place. You've got to play well every night, and I'm sure that's what you stress to you guys, is that every day in practice, and we've got to bring that intensity, because if you let down once, you're going to lose a game that you can't afford to lose come that conference tournament time.
A lot of times on the road too, and I think people somewhat understand, but it's hard to win on the road. Mm-hmm. You're traveling, for example, between Winona and Upper Iowa. You're traveling 5 hours to Winona. Okay, you're leaving the day before. So then there's a whole different routine with the day of by not traveling. But then you're going to get in the bus after the game at Winona. It's probably 10:30. You're going to drive all the way down to Fayette, Iowa. You're going to get in early morning, and then you're going to have an entire day of eating, sleeping, laying around. There's a lot of factors that go into that. And not to mention we played an overtime game versus Winona. So there was a lot of guys who played a lot of minutes. But it's hard to win on the road. And that's where, if you can just find a way to steal one on the road, if you're fortunate to get two on the road, you're going to put yourself in a pretty good situation.
Yeah, the teams that have done that so far have done that so far. Minnesota State Mankato, who's gone 4-0 in their past 4 games in the road, and picking up some big wins. And Upper Iowa did the same, going to Concordia, Winona, and Mankato and winning there. So important win for the Mustangs to close out that road trip, beating the Peacocks 74-69. As we mentioned, Mustangs will be at home this weekend. A couple of big ones. The St. Cloud State Huskies, who were nationally ranked in last week's poll. We'll have to see when that comes out here early in the week. But the Mustangs take on the Huskies at 8 o'clock on Friday night, and then Minnesota Duluth under a new head coach, Matt Bowen, who came from Bemidji State. He's now with the Bulldogs. They'll be coming to town on Saturday, and that starts at 7 o'clock on Saturday against the Bulldogs at the RA facility. So, Coach, best of luck this week against the Huskies and the Bulldogs, and we'll talk to you next week. We'll have a little different schedule. The Mustangs play next Tuesday against the University of Sioux Falls, a midweek game. So a lot of basketball coming up here for the Mustangs here in the next couple of weeks. For the head coach, Brad Bigler, I'm Kelly Law. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Mustang Basketball with Brad Bigler. Until next time, go Mustangs!